Good evening and welcome to Doordarshan Kendra Kohima. I'm Vimisana with the news. First, the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Operation Sindoor has sent strong global message about India's zero-tolerance policy towards terrorism. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar calls for youth to uphold democratic values. Kohima District Administration organizes awareness and camp under Dharti Abha Janjatiya Gram Utkarsh Abhiyan. Israel says Iran violates ceasefire announced by Trump, orders new strikes. And now the details. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said Operation Sindoor has sent a strong global message about India's zero-tolerance policy towards terrorism. He said that India has made it clear that no place is safe for those who harm Indian citizens. The Prime Minister was speaking at the centenary celebration of the historic conversation between two of India's greatest spiritual and moral leaders, Sri Narayanan Guru and Mahatma Gandhi, held in New Delhi today. He emphasized that India's dependence on foreign arms imports is steadily declining, with the country becoming increasingly Atmanirbhar in the defense sector. The centenary celebration brought together spiritual leaders and dignitaries to reflect a powerful tribute to the shared ideals of justice, unity and spiritual harmony.
मोक्ष प्राप्ति, दलितों के उत्थान जैसे विषयों पर केंद्रित था। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने कहा कि श्री नारायण गुरु के आदर्श पूरी मानवता के लिए बहुत बड़ी पूंजी हैं। जो लोग देश और समाज की सेवा के संकल्प पर काम करते हैं, श्री नारायण गुरु उनके लिए प्रकाश स्तंभ की तरह हैं। पीएम ने कहा कि आप सभी जानते हैं कि समाज के शोषित, पीड़ित, वंचित वर्ग से उनका क्या नाता है और इसलिए आज भी जब वे समाज के शोषित, पीड़ित, वंचित वर्ग के लिए निर्णय लेते हैं तो गुरुदेव को जरूर याद करते हैं। उन्होंने कहा कि श्री नारायण गुरु एक सशक्त भारत चाहते थे और भारत के सशक्तिकरण के लिए हमें आर्थिक, सामाजिक और सैन्य हर पहलू में आगे चलना होगा। पीएम मोदी ने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर का जिक्र करते हुए कहा कि आतंकियों के लिए कोई भी ठिकाना सुरक्षित नहीं है।
Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar today said that the last 10 years of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi government has been historic in terms of exponential economic growth and a phenomenal infrastructure rise. Addressing a function at Muzaffarpur in Bihar, Mr. Dhankar said India has taken the biggest leap in the world in terms of economic rise, attaining the 4th position from the 11th in the league of powerful economies. He said youth now have a plethora of options which were never available before and called on them to uphold democratic values. The Vice President added that youths should take inspiration from Lok Nayak J. Prakash Narayan, who was a voice of resistance for democratic rights during the emergency. Mrs. Dhankar praised the new education policy introduced by the NDA government, saying that it promotes the philosophy of brainstorming, nation building and character building. Moving on, Kohima District Administration today organized a block-level awareness and benefits saturation camp at the Dharti Abha Janjatiya Gram Utkarsh Abhiyan, DAJGUA at Chedema village. The event aimed to ensure the holistic development of tribal communities by bringing government schemes and services directly to the grassroots. Organized under the initiative of the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, the DAJGUA program strives to improve rural living conditions through the saturation of flagship welfare schemes and direct interaction between implementing departments and beneficiaries. Services provided during the camp including Aadhaar registration, all-age pension, widow and Divyang pension schemes, Chief Minister's microfinance initiative, health camp, Ayushman Bharat, Mudra Yojana, among others. Emphasizing the essence of the program, Extra Assistant Commissioner of Kohima Sadar, Dr. Riku Kutso, encouraged villagers to understand the schemes and proactively avail themselves of the benefit without waiting until the last moment. The program was attended by village representatives from various community groups, departmental officials and other key stakeholders, reflecting a collaborative effort to ensure the effective dissemination and delivery of government services at the grassroots level. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz today said he had ordered the military to strike Tehran in response to what he said were missiles fired by Iran in a violation of the ceasefire announced hours earlier by U.S. President Donald Trump. Iran denied violating the ceasefire. The Armed Forces General Staff denied that there had been any launch of missiles towards Israel in recent hours. Iran News reported the development raised early doubts about the ceasefire intended to end 12 days of war. Both Israel and Iran had confirmed the ceasefire after it was announced by Trump. Earlier, a statement from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office has stated it has agreed to ceasefire after achieving its goal of removing Tehran's nuclear and ballistic missile threats.
हालांकि आईडीएफ के दावों का ईरान ने खंडन किया है। इजराइल के पीएम नेतन्याहू ने ईरान के साथ सीजफायर के लिए सहमति जताते हुए चेतावनी दी कि अगर ईरान की ओर से सीजफायर का उल्लंघन किया जाता है तो उसे इजराइल की तरफ से करारा जवाब मिलेगा। अमेरिका के राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने दोनों देशों से सीजफायर को मानने का आह्वान किया है।
We'll now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned.
दीदी नौकरी लग गई।
अरे वाह, बधाई हो। तो अब तो ढेर सारी शॉपिंग।
हाँ दी, नया मोबाइल।
अरे रुको शहजादे, सैलरी से पहले खर्चे।
इंस्टेंट लोन भी तो मिलता है।
पहले बजट बनाना सीखो, फिर खर्च करो।
पर दी
देखो, कमाई का एक हिस्सा हमेशा बचाना चाहिए, लेकिन पार्टी देने से नहीं बचोगे तुम।
हाँ दी, पार्टी मेरी, बजट तुम्हारा।
अच्छा।
आरबीआई कहता है
सही वित्तीय बर्ताव करे आपका बचाव।
Welcome back. Niti Aayog today released the third edition of its quarterly insights series, Future Front, entitled India's Data Imperative, that pivot towards quality in New Delhi. The report underscores the urgent need for robust data quality to fortify digital governance, cultivate public trust, and ensure efficient service delivery. It also critically examines the pervasive challenges posed by poor data quality and introduces practical, easy-to-use tools. During the release of the report, Niti Aayog CEO BVR Subramanian, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation Secretary Dr. Saurabh Garg, and Distinguished Fellow Niti Aayog Debjani Ghosh shared their views on how India can make its data management more robust. Union's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that the centre has taken several measures to reduce the burden on trade by cutting down tariffs to support manufacturing and promote exports. Addressing the Exim Bank Trade Conclave 2025 in New Delhi today, Mrs. Sitharaman said the country's total exports reached a time high of $825 billion and achieved 6% growth over the previous year. The Union Minister said that global exports grew by only 4%, but India's exports witnessed growth of 6.3% in the last fiscal year. On the talks with various nations to finalize free trade agreements, Mrs. Sitharaman said these agreements will change the dynamics of the country's exports in the future.
In the last few years, global growth in trade have all suffered. That is why you have periodically the WTO, the World Bank, and the IMF reviewing every half year and telling us as to how the progress is. It's not seen an uptick by their estimates. Even this year, there's a 20 basis point drop in the OECD estimates, the World Bank estimates. The World Bank, of course, has come down with 40 bips coming down, and the WTO. So it doesn't seem as if the world is in a mood to go along with exports. Despite that, I appreciate the Indian exporters putting that kind of an effort, that they are still growing and are finding real success.
In a significant move to strengthen Indian Army operational readiness in counter-terrorism operations, the Ministry of Defence has cleared 13 contracts under the emergency procurement mechanism. These contracts, amounting to 1,981 crore rupees, have been finalized against an overall sanctioned outlay of 2,000 crore rupees for the Indian Army. The equipment being procured includes integrated drone detection systems, bulletproof jackets, and night sights for rifles, the ministry said. The procurement aims to enhance situational awareness, lethality, mobility and protection for troops deployed in counter-terrorism environments. Ringing javelin world champion Neeraj Chopra will be back in action at the prestigious Ostrava Golden Spike 2025 Athletes Meet in the Czech Republic tonight. Chopra's event is scheduled to begin at 10:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Neeraj Chopra was scheduled to compete at the Golden Spike in both 2023 and 2024 but had to withdraw on both occasions due to injury. Now in its 64th edition, the Golden Spike, part of the World Athletics Continental Tour Gold Series, is one of the most prestigious gold athletes event outside the Diamond League. We will now look at the weather report from the district headquarters of Nagaland.
Kohima today recorded a maximum temperature of 25 degrees Celsius and a minimum temperature of 20 degrees Celsius, while Dimapur had a maximum temperature of 34 degrees Celsius and a minimum temperature of 25 degrees Celsius. Wokha experienced a maximum temperature of 30 degrees Celsius and a minimum temperature of 21 degrees Celsius. Mokokchung had a maximum temperature of 28 degrees Celsius and a minimum temperature of 21 degrees Celsius. Mon had a maximum temperature of 31 degrees Celsius and a minimum temperature of 23 degrees Celsius. Towards the east, Twinsang had a maximum temperature of 22 degrees Celsius and a minimum temperature of 17 degrees Celsius. Zinabuto had a maximum temperature of 24 degrees Celsius and a minimum temperature of 19 degrees Celsius. Phek had a maximum temperature of 22 degrees Celsius and a minimum temperature of 17 degrees Celsius. That's all for the weather report.
And before we close, a recap of the main points. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Operation Sindoor has sent strong global message about India's zero-tolerance policy towards terrorism. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar calls for youth to uphold democratic values. Kohima District Administration organizes awareness and camp under Dharti Abajan Jatiya Gram Utkarsh Abhiyan. Israel says Iran violates ceasefires announced by Trump, orders new strikes. And with that, we close tonight's news edition. Thank you for your company. Have a good night.